Hi, this is Emily Schmeidler from Soundscaping Source, Show Me Hope, Missouri, and from Tri-County Mental Health. And today I am here with my plants to tell you a little bit about why we should be looking for growth right now. So we are more than a year into this global pandemic, and you and I also might be feeling extremely fatigued from all of the information that we've been consuming and all the changes that have been happening in our world for the past year. We've all adapted to this new normal, and we're looking for any sign of hope that we can get. And although things are slowly becoming more normal, like they used to be, there are still a lot of different unknowns. So I have a little question for you to think about. How can we cultivate a sense of hope and resiliency? And how can we focus on growth right now? Another thing that you can do to think about growth is to try your hand at a little gardening. This isn't for everyone, maybe you think, but it can be as small as maybe having a patio herb garden with just a few pots that you can have some fresh herbs or maybe a few flowers in. And this will give you the opportunity to care for something and to look for new growth, cultivate hopefulness, catch a few rays of sunshine, which is really great for our immune systems. And maybe you can even freshen up your cooking a little bit if you choose to have some herbs. This is also a really great activity if you have kids around. They can really get involved in this hands-on activity. So I'm going to share a few tips for a patio garden that will help you to be successful. Okay. So number one is start small. Don't think that you have to have a huge garden to reap the benefits. Even just a few pots of herbs or flowers can still give you all the benefits of gardening. You can purchase most starter herbs, which I've got a few right here. Here's a little basil plant. They're only a few dollars. I think I've seen them at several grocery stores even for maybe $1 a piece, depending on how big they are. But these little starter herbs just come like this, and you can put them in a larger pot and they will grow over time in the summer. And when you purchase your pot for it, you want to make sure that it's about double the size of the plant, so it'll give it a little bit of room to grow. Number two is get creative. So you can have fun really visualizing what your patio garden could look like. And you want to get a pot or a container for your herbs that is beautiful and makes you smile, makes you hopeful when you look outside your window. You can even use containers that you might have at home, repurposing things. You could use old paint cans, you could use old soup cans, mugs, or teacups. You could cut the top of a jug off of that jug, really anything. So get creative. Feel free to decorate those, paint them, use your imagination. Again, get kids involved if they're around, and this can be a really fun and personalized project. Number three is choose a container with good drainage. So this is the number one key to a successful patio garden. You want to make sure that your pot or container has holes in it. The majority of plants actually do not die from underwatering, they die from root rot. And root rot happens when a plant is not able to properly drain. And so the roots get really moldy and squishy and gross. And there's not a great way to help them after that happens. So you want to make sure that if you're getting your own container for herbs that you or other plants, you're drilling holes in the bottom of it or you're hammering some holes in there to make sure it has proper drainage. And this is also a really good thing to look out for if you're purchasing a pot, is to look for if it has a hole in the bottom, or if it doesn't, to put a different container, maybe a plastic one inside that has that drainage system. Number four is research your herbs. So think about what kind of herbs or plants you would like in your patio garden before you shop, so you have an idea. It can be pretty overwhelming, but if you go in with an idea, you will be able to get what you need and get going. So there's a lot of different herbs to choose from. If you're going for herbs, ones that do particularly well in either sun or shade, depending on your patio, are basil, rosemary, parsley, thyme, cilantro, mint, and more. In my garden, I'll have quite a few of those on my own patio. Mine is pretty shady, but I think they'll do okay. If you are known to kill plants, I would start out with mint. It is a really easy plant to care for. It's hard to kill. It's great to put mint in beverages or desserts and really freshen up your flavor of your meals. And you also want to make sure that you're planting it in a separate pot. If you're planting it with something else, mint is invasive, and so it will kind of overtake everything else in the pot. But the benefit of mint being invasive is that it will grow big pretty quickly, and you'll have quite a bit to trim off and use. So that's my number one tip for if you're looking for maybe a plant that's hard to kill, go with the mint. Number 5 is let your plant dry out between waterings. This is another common problem for gardeners that are just starting out, is that we tend to overwater our plants if we really like to care for them, really like to keep an eye on them. A general rule of thumb is that you want to be able to stick your finger in just the top little layer of soil. And if that's dry, then give your plant a good drink. If it's still wet, then you'll just want to leave it alone to dry out. You also want to take your sun exposure into consideration. Like I said, my patio is completely shade, and so my plants don't need water that often. But if you have a patio that's in full sun or partial sun, that plant is going to dry out more quickly just because you have that more full sun exposure. So take that into consideration and just try and keep an eye on them and withhold from watering if you need to. Number 6 is use your herbs regularly, or your flowers. Um, as you care for your plants and you look for the new growth every day, as we're focusing on growth, don't be afraid to use your herbs generously. Start using those big hardy leaves. They really like it actually if you cut those off and use them. They'll start to grow bigger, and you'll really start to get in the habit of putting fresh herbs on your meals, getting those great health benefits, all those vitamins, and also just getting a different taste in your meals that maybe dried herbs wouldn't give you the same taste, or even if you don't use a lot of herbs in your cooking, or maybe you'll get different herbs in your patio garden that you usually don't use dried. So have fun with it and use them generously. Okay. So as you garden, you can also check out a playlist that we made. It will be below this video. You can listen to it as you're going for a walk and looking at all the new growth, or you can use it as you're planning your patio garden or even planting your new plants. This playlist is specifically about growth and gardening, and so it's pretty fun. And lastly, if you or someone you know is experiencing disaster distress, call or text the disaster distress hotline 24 hours a day and 7 days a week for support. The number will be in the next slide. Remember to stay hopeful, look for the growth. This pandemic will not last forever. Take care of each other and happy gardening. I'll see you in another video.